Hi and welcome to Reading for Pleasure. We're going to be reading I Know What You Did Last Wednesday by Anthony Horowitz. It's a detective story, so it should be really interesting. Chapter 1, An Invitation. I like horror stories, but not when they happen to me. If you read my other adventures, you'll know that I've been smothered in concrete, thrown in jail with a dangerous lunatic, tied to a railway line, almost blown up, chased through a cornfield, dodging machine gun bullets, poisoned in Paris, and all of this before my 14th birthday. It's not fair. I do my homework, I clean my teeth twice a day, but why does everyone want to kill me? But the worst thing that ever happened to me began in a hot morning in July. It was the first week of the summer holidays, and there I was, as usual, stuck with my big brother Tim, the world's most unsuccessful private detective. Tim had just spent a month helping with security at the American Embassy in Grosvenor Square, and even now I'm not sure how he decided that there was a bomb in the ambassador's car. Anyway, just as the ambassador was about to get in, Tim had grabbed hold of him and hurled him out the way, which would have been heroic if there had been a bomb. There wasn't. And if Tim hadn't managed to throw the unfortunate man in front of a passing bus. The ambassador was now in hospital, and Tim was out of work. So there we were at the breakfast table, with Tim reading the Morning Post while I counted out the cornflakes. We were down to our last packets, and it had to last us another week. That allowed us 17 flakes but as a treat I allowed Tim to keep the free toy. There was a handful of letters that morning, and so far they'd all been bills. "There's a letter from Mum," Tim said. "Any money?" "No." He quickly read the letter. It was strange to think that my mum and dad were still in Australia, and that I would have been with them if I hadn't slipped off the plane and gone to stay with Tim. My dad was a door-to-door salesman, selling doors. He had a house in Sydney with 3 bedrooms and 47 doors. It had been 2 years now since I'd seen him. "Mum says you're welcome to visit," Tim said. "She says the door is always open." "Which one?" I asked. He picked up the last letter. I could see at once this wasn't a bill. It came in a square, white envelope made up of the sort of paper that only comes from the most expensive trees. The address was handwritten, a fountain pen, not biro. Tim weighed it in his hand. "I wonder what this is," he said. "It's an envelope, Tim," I replied. "It's what letters come in." I wonder who it's from." He smiled. "Maybe it's a thank you letter from the American ambassador." Why should he thank you? You threw him under a bus." "Yes, but I sent him a bunch of grapes in hospital." "Just open it, Tim," I said. Tim grabbed hold of a knife and, with a dramatic gesture, sliced open the mysterious envelope. After we'd finished bandaging his left leg, we examined the contents. First, there was an invitation, printed in red ink on a thick white card. "Dear Herbert," it began. Tim Diamond was, of course, only the name he called himself. His real name was Herbert Simple. "It had been many years since we've met, but I would like to invite you to a reunion of old boys and girls from St. Egbert's Comprehensive, which will take place from Wednesday the 9th to February the 11th of July. I'm sure you are busy, but I am keen to see you again. I'm so keen to see you again that I will pay you £1,000 to make the journey to Scotland. I also enclose a ticket for the train. Your old friend, Rory McDougall, Crocodile Island, Scotland." Tim tilted the envelope. Sure enough, a first-class train ticket slid out onto the table. "That's fantastic," Tim exclaimed. "A first-class ticket to Scotland?" He examined the ticket. "And back? That's even better." "Wait a minute," I said. "Who's Rory McDougall?" But even as I spoke, I thought the name was familiar. "We were at school together, in the same class. Rory was brilliant. He came first in maths. He was so clever, he passed all of his exams, even without reading the questions. After he left school, he invented the pocket calculator, which was just as well, because he made so much money, he needed a pocket calculator to count it. McDougall Industries. Now I knew where I heard the name. McDougall had been in the newspapers. The man was a multi-millionaire. "When did you last see him?" I asked. "It must have been on prize-giving day about 10 years ago," Tim said. "He went to university and I joined the police." Tim had only spent a year with the police, but in that time the crime rate had doubled. He didn't often talk about it, but I knew that he had once put together an identikit picture that had led to the arrest of the Archbishop of Canterbury. He'd been transferred to the mounted police, but had only lasted a few weeks before his horse resigned. Then he'd become a private detective, and, of course, he had hardly made millions. If you added up all of the money Tim had ever made and put it into a bank wouldn't even notice. "Are you going?" I asked. Tim flicked a cornflake towards his mouth. It disappeared over its shoulder. "Of course I'm going," he said. "Maybe McNoodle will offer me a job. Head of security on Alligator Island. Crocodile Island, Tim." I picked up the invitation. "What about me?" "Sorry, kid. Didn't see your name on the envelope." "Maybe it's under the stamp?" Tim said nothing, so I went on. "You can't just leave me here." "Why not?" "I'm only 14. It's against the law." Tim frowned. "I won't tell if you won't." "I will tell." "Forget it, Nick. McStrudel was my old school friend. He went to my old school. It's my name on the envelope, and you can argue all you like, but this time I'm going alone." We left King's Cross Station on the morning of the 9th. Tim sat next to the window, looking sulky. I was sitting opposite him. I had finally persuaded him to swap the first-class ticket for 2 second-class ones, which at least allowed me to travel for free. You may think it strange that I should have wanted to join Tim on a journey heading several hundred miles north, but there was something about the invitation that bothered me. Maybe it was the letter, written in ink of the colour blood. Maybe it was the name, Crocodile Island. And then there was the money. The invitation might have sounded innocent enough, but why was McDougal paying Tim £1,000 to get on a train? I had a feeling there might have been something more to this than the school reunion. And for that matter, why would anyone in their right mind want to be reunited with Tim? I was also curious, and it's not every day you get to meet a man like Rory McDougal. Computers, camcorders, mobile phones, and DVD players. They all came stamped with the initials RM, and every machine that sold made McDougal a little richer. Apparently the man was something of a recluse. A few years back he bought himself an island off the Scottish coast, somewhere to be alone, and there had been pictures of it all in the newspapers. The island was long and narrow, with 2 arms jutting out and a twisted tail. Apparently that's how it got its name.